Hello friends, and today we have the introduction to our read aloud, which is going to be chapter 12, The Return of Toad, part 1 for The Wind and Willows. Let's get to the next slide. Oh, friends, I'm trying to get... Oh, there we go. So, of course, anytime we start with our introduction to the read alouds, we always start with vocabulary. Our first vocabulary word is imprisoned, and it means put in jail. And for our story, that is exactly how this definition is being used. And if you can guess which character it relates to, I'm sure you will probably guess Toad. Oh, doesn't she look mean? Indignant. Indignant means angry because of an unjust or unfair situation. Right? So that this little girl is most certainly angry. And these are sentries. And sentries are people, more than one, who guard an entrance or stand watch. Right? So they look like they're guards. They look like they're guarding a building, don't they? Absolutely. Startled. Startled means visibly scared or surprised, often jumping or moving suddenly as a reaction. Have you ever been startled before? Have you ever been watching TV or playing a game and someone taps you on the shoulder? Yeah, they startled you. So startled shouldn't be a new vocabulary word for us. I think we've all been startled at some point in our lives. This is surveyed. Surveyed means take a general look at something or looked over. So if you ever heard the term, I've surveyed the area, that means they've taken a look over the area. But survey doesn't have to be for area. You can survey a book. You can survey a map like these gentlemen are doing. You can survey the area. You can survey the backyard. So if you take a general look at something or if you look over something, then you have surveyed it. This word is warily. It means cautiously and in a watchful way. So if you can see that it looks like maybe the mom or the teacher is warily looking at all the students, that means she is cautiously looking at them or she is looking at them in a watchful way. Our word for today is startled. And doesn't she look startled, friends? Yes, Rachel was so startled when her sister popped out from behind the door that she jumped. So when people are startled, they are suddenly scared or surprised and often move or jump as a reaction. So just like we talked about before, if you're startled, you kind of jump. And sometimes if you're startled, your heart will start to beat a little bit, right? Have you ever been in a situation where you were startled and then your heart began to race a little bit? Right. So that's exactly what we're talking about when we talk about being startled. This is definitely a person that looks startled. And I'm going to see if I have any additional. Yeah, so that's definitely somebody that looks startled. And I think startled we do a word work with our vocabulary almost every day. And I think for this particular word, I think it might be the easiest because I think that this is the one word that we can all relate to. Just everybody can relate to this word. Even if you tried to play a prank on someone and you startled them, this is a word that every single one of us can relate to. So our word for today is startled. So we're going to read some literary tools. Now, these are things that we've talked about before, so this is just going to be a quick review. And then, of course, we're going to review our most favorite of all. So perspective. This is how someone sees or experiences something. And remember, perspective can shift from one character to another, and it's just one way of telling more about the story. The dialogue is the actual talking of the characters, and we know that dialogue uses quotation marks. And the narration is who tells the story and how the story is being told. So if we think about some of these literary tools and then we think about them as it relates to the plot of the story, we know that Toad is very conceited, right? And think about some of the characters that Toad came across in some of the previous chapters, and then think about how Toad ended up in the water, right? Think about how Toad ended up in the water and what character that we were introduced to briefly, what character put him into the water. So let's think about theme. So what is theme, right? We know that theme is the moral lesson or the message that the author wants us to learn in the story, right? So we've talked about friendship, and an example of friendship is Mole offering to pack up the picnic lunch while Rat rests. We've talked about loyalty, responsibility, irresponsibility, and hospitality. So loyalty is Rat agreeing to travel with Toad because he worries about Toad traveling on his own. An example of responsibility is Rat and Mole taking care of the wrecked caravan, the house, and Toad after the car incident. An example of irresponsibility is Toad not helping on the trip and not caring about the wreck. And an example of hospitality is Rat giving Mole dry clothes and sitting him in front of the fire when he fell in the river. Here's the biggest thing I want you to keep in mind when it comes to these particular themes. These are just one example of each theme. You can find different examples in different chapters, more than one example for each theme that we have listed here. So remember, there are multiple examples for these themes that we have here. So you are going to meet some new characters and you're going to revisit some old ones. So animal characters from the Wildwood in today's Read Aloud are going to be weasels, ferrets, and stoats. Those particular characters are pictured right here. And they're all in the same weasel type family, because you can see that they all look pretty similar. So I want you to listen carefully to the story to hear which aspects of those characters are personified. Remember, personify is when you give non-human things human-like characteristics. So basically that means that these animals are going to talk, right? So you need to listen for that. Remember, the name of the chapter that we're about to read is The Return of Toad Part 1. And at the end of the last chapter, Toad runs right into the river and then finds himself in front of Water Rat. So think about what happened to Toad last time he saw Water Rat. Last time Toad saw Water Rat, Toad lied to Rat about being ill so he could escape. Do you remember that? Right, when he escaped out of the window of his home. So how do you think Rat feels after Toad tricks him and escapes Toad Hall? Okay. Do you think Rat is happy to see Toad? Keep in mind now, they are still friends. So do you think Rat is happy to see his friend Toad? And how would you feel if a friend lied to you and tricked you? Would you just let bygones be bygones, or would you just let it go and still be friends? How do you think Rat will be willing to help Toad in today's Read Aloud? And why do you think he would be, or why do you think he wouldn't be willing to help Toad? So I want you to listen carefully. We're going to listen carefully and see if you can come up with the answers to those questions based on today's Read Aloud. And these are just some of the questions that we just answered. Remember, do you think Rat is happy to see Toad? Okay. Now, what predictions can you make about today's Read Aloud? Right? Do you think Toad is going to see the error in his ways? Do you think Toad is going to become a better person overall? What do you think? Do you think they're all going to remain friends? What do you think? Today's assignment, you're going to just have an activity page that's in a Google Sheet, and it looks like this. Now, in that activity page, you are not going to be able to circle the letters, but what I want you to do is write the word on the line. So if you can see the first one, it's a person wrapping a gift. You want to circle the W-R, the A, and the P, wrap, and then you're going to write wrap on the line. Well, it's going to be a little bit difficult for you to circle the letters on the Google Sheet. Now, if you want to try and circle them, you can, but it's not necessary. What I want you to do is use these letters to write the word. So what is the person doing in the second picture? That's right, they're knitting. So knit is spelled K-N-I-T. Do you see the K-N from the first box, the I from the second box, and the T from the third box? And then you're going to write K-N-I-T on the line. So here we have the K-N from the first box, the I from the second box, and the T from the third box, and you're going to write K-N-I-T on the line. What is this here in this picture? That's right, it's a quilt. You're going to select Q-U-I from the second box, L from the third box, T from the fourth box, and you're going to write quilt on the line. Now you're going to have 10 of these to do by yourself. So I want you to make sure that you take one set of letters from each box. So Q-U, the I, the L, and then the T. And then you're going to write the word quilt on the line. You're going to do that for every single one, and you're going to have about 10 of them to complete. Oh, look, K-N-I-T. And then you write knit on the line, Q-U-I-L-T. And then you write quilt on the line. Now, you're not going to be able to circle them unless you can get some help from someone who knows how to use Google Sheets, and then you can circle it and write the word on the line. But you do not have to circle them if you don't know how to do it. If you just want to write the word on the line, then you can do that. All right, friends, that is the end of our intro to the Read Aloud, and that's all for now.